Imagine holding an object so cursed that it has claimed dozens of lives across centuries, or touching an ancient relic that could supposedly unleash supernatural forces beyond human comprehension. Tonight, we're diving into 7 of the most terrifying artifacts ever discovered. Objects so malevolent that museums refuse to display them. Collectors have died mysterious deaths, and entire families have been destroyed simply by bringing them into their homes. These aren't just old trinkets gathering dust. These are instruments of darkness that some believe should never have been unearthed. Some objects carry more than memories. Some carry something far more sinister, something that refuses to rest. The wooden wine box appeared unremarkable at first glance, carved with simple Hebrew letters and aged by time. But its previous owner, a Holocaust survivor, clutched the arm of the estate sale buyer with trembling fingers. Her warning was clear and desperate. The box contained a Dybbuk, a malevolent spirit from Jewish folklore that clings to objects and torments the living. She had kept it sealed for decades, never daring to open what should never have been disturbed. The buyer dismissed her words as the ramblings of an elderly woman, but the box had other plans. Within days of bringing it home, the nightmares began. Vivid, horrifying dreams plagued his sleep, while the scent of cat urine and jasmine flowers inexplicably filled rooms where the box resided. When he gifted it to his mother, her hair began falling out in clumps. When he gave it to his sister, welts appeared on her body without cause. Each person who encountered the box reported the same phenomena: unexplained illnesses, psychological breakdowns, and an overwhelming sense of dread that seemed to emanate from the simple wooden container. Word of the cursed object spread, and the box changed hands repeatedly, each owner desperate to rid themselves of its malevolent influence. Families reported violent mood swings, mysterious health problems, and an oppressive darkness that seemed to follow the box wherever it went. The pattern was undeniable, the suffering consistent, yet the box remained sealed, its contents a mystery that few dared to investigate. The Dybbuk Box's reputation grew beyond whispered warnings in internet forums. It inspired the 2012 horror film The Possession and became one of eBay's most infamous listings, passed from seller to seller like a deadly game of supernatural hot potato. Eventually, it found its way to paranormal investigator Zach Bagans, who recognized the danger it posed and made a chilling decision. Today, the Dybbuk Box rests in Bacon's Haunted Museum in Las Vegas, sealed away from curious hands and prying eyes. Bagans himself refuses to open it, claiming the risk is far too great. The box sits in its display case, unremarkable to those who don't know its history, yet somehow radiating an energy that visitors can feel even through the glass. But one question remains: if a simple wooden box can harbor such malevolence, what other cursed objects rest quietly in attics, antique shops, and estate sales, waiting for their next unsuspecting owner to break the seal? When firefighters sift through the charred remains of a house fire, they expect to find nothing but ash and twisted metal. But across Britain, they began discovering something that should have been impossible: pristine paintings of weeping children, untouched by flames that had consumed everything around them. It began as a simple commercial venture in the 1960s and 70s. Mass-produced paintings of crying children found their way into thousands of British homes, their sorrowful faces gazing down from living room walls and bedroom corners. The artwork was affordable, accessible, and oddly compelling. Few buyers gave much thought to the melancholy subjects captured in oil and canvas. But by the 1980s, a disturbing pattern had emerged. House after house across the country had burned to the ground, leaving families devastated and investigators puzzled. In each case, amid the total destruction, firefighters made the same unsettling discovery. The crying boy paintings remained completely intact, their frames unwarped, their surfaces unmarked by smoke or flame. Newspaper investigations began documenting case after case, eventually cataloging over 50 incidents where homes containing these paintings had been consumed by fire. The correlation seemed impossible to dismiss as mere coincidence. Reporters traced the paintings back to their origins, uncovering a chilling detail about their creation. The original artist had allegedly used orphaned children as models, many of whom had later perished in tragic circumstances. As the story spread, a darker theory began to take hold. Some believed that the paintings had become vessels, trapping the souls of the children who had posed for them. The tears painted on their faces, witnesses claimed, weren't merely artistic expression, but eternal sorrow made manifest. The fires weren't destroying the paintings because they were the source of the destruction, carrying with them the anguish of lives cut tragically short. The crying boy paintings still hang in homes today, their subjects forever frozen in grief. Whether they're harbingers of misfortune or simply unfortunate coincidences, one question remains. When you look into those painted eyes, brimming with tears that will never fall, what exactly is looking back? In the shadowed corners of history, some objects carry more than beauty. They carry death itself. The story begins in 15th century Italy, where skilled artisans crafted a magnificent silver vase as a wedding gift. Intricate patterns adorned its surface, each curve and detail speaking to the love and celebration it was meant to honor. Yet on the very night it was presented, the bride for whom it was created drew her final breath, dying mysteriously as her wedding celebration turned to mourning. What followed reads like a catalog of tragedy. Every documented owner of the Basano vase met their end within mere months of acquiring it. Death seemed to follow in its wake, sudden, unexplained, inevitable. The circumstances varied, but the outcome remained chillingly consistent. One by one, those who possessed the vase joined its growing list of victims. For centuries, the vase vanished from all records, disappearing into the dark spaces between documented history. Then, as mysteriously as it had vanished, it resurfaced. Attached to it was a handwritten note, a warning penned by hands unknown, speaking of its deadly nature and the fate that awaited any who dared claim it. When the vase finally appeared at auction, even the anonymous seller could not remain silent about its reputation. They included their own warning, detailing the object's homicidal history and the string of deaths that had followed in its wake. It was perhaps the first time in auction history that a seller actively discouraged bidding on their own item. Today, the Basano vase rests somewhere beneath the earth, reportedly buried in a location known only to those who decided its deadly legacy had claimed enough lives. The exact spot remains a secret, deliberately hidden from those who might be tempted to unearth it. But one must wonder, can something so steeped in death truly remain buried forever, or does it simply wait, patient and silent, for the day someone inevitably digs too deep? In the quiet halls of a Florida museum, hundreds of letters arrive each year, not fan mail or scholarly inquiries, but desperate apologies to a 3-foot-tall doll that some believe holds the power to curse those who cross him. The story begins in 1906, in the tropical humidity of Key West, where a young boy named Robert Eugene Otto received what would become one of the most infamous toys in American folklore. The gift came from a Bahamian servant working in the Otto household, a woman who allegedly practiced the ancient arts of black magic and voodoo. Whether born of affection or something darker, she crafted the doll in the boy's likeness, complete with real human hair that would later become a source of endless speculation. As young Robert grew up with his namesake companion, strange occurrences began to plague the Otto family home. Neighbors reported seeing the doll move from window to window when the house stood empty. The boy's parents would find furniture overturned and hear their son carrying on conversations in two distinct voices, his own and another that seemed to emanate from the doll itself. Most unsettling of all, family members swore they witnessed the doll's facial expressions shift and change, as if some consciousness lurked behind those button eyes. The tales of Robert's supernatural influence spread throughout Key West like wildfire. Accidents befell those who spoke ill of the doll, and misfortune seemed to follow anyone who dared to mock his existence. When Robert Eugene Otto passed away, the doll eventually found its way to the Fort East Martello Museum, where it resides today, but the strange phenomena continued. Museum staff established an unusual protocol. Visitors must politely ask Robert's permission before taking his photograph. Those who ignore this rule, who laugh or show disrespect, often find themselves writing letters weeks or months later. These handwritten apologies flood the museum's mailbox regularly, each one telling a similar tale of unexplained accidents, illness, or misfortune that began shortly after their visit. The letter writers beg Robert's forgiveness, hoping to lift what they've come to believe is his curse. Today, Robert sits behind glass in his sailor suit, that shock of reportedly human hair still crowning his weathered head. Visitors claim to see him blink during photo sessions, and staff members occasionally find him in different positions than where he was left the night before. But perhaps the most chilling question isn't whether Robert truly possesses supernatural powers. It's what force, after more than a century, keeps drawing people to write those letters of apology, and what they've experienced that compels them to seek forgiveness from a doll. What if a mirror could hold more than just your reflection? What if it could trap something far more precious and far more terrifying? Deep within the moss-draped corridors of Louisiana's Myrtles Plantation stands an antique mirror that locals refuse to meet with their gaze. The ornate-looking glass has witnessed over 2 centuries of history, but according to legend, it holds something far darker than memories. In 1823, Sarah Woodruff and her 2 young children met their end within these very walls, victims of a poisoning that would forever bind their souls to this cursed reflection. Visitors who dare to peer into the mirror's depths report encounters that defy explanation. Tiny handprints appear and vanish against the glass, as if pressed from within. Children's faces materialize in the silvered surface, their eyes wide with an eternal plea. Shadowy figures drift through the reflection, moving with purpose through spaces that seem to exist only within the mirror's realm. Perhaps most unsettling of all, the mirror appears to show rooms and corridors that don't match the plantation's current layout. Witnesses describe glimpsing chambers frozen in time, decorated as they were centuries ago, populated by figures from an era long past. It's as if the mirror serves as a window into the plantation's former self, preserving not just the building's history but the souls who once called it home. Paranormal investigators arriving with their sensitive equipment record sudden, inexplicable temperature drops around the mirror. Electromagnetic fields spike and fluctuate in patterns that follow no natural law. The very air seems to thicken with an unseen presence, as if the mirror's influence extends far beyond its physical frame. The plantation staff have learned to give the mirror a wide berth. After numerous reports of supernatural encounters during routine cleaning, they now refuse to maintain it altogether. Dust gathers on its surface undisturbed, and perhaps that's for the best. Some doors, it seems, are meant to remain unopened. The mirror continues to hang in silent vigil, its surface growing dimmer with each passing year. But one must wonder, as the reflection grows darker, does it trap more light within? And if so, what else might be waiting there, pressed against the glass, trying to find their way back to the world of the living? What happens when an artist's final, desperate act becomes forever trapped within their creation? In the shadowy corners of art history, few pieces carry as dark a legacy as the Anguished Man. This disturbing painting emerged from tragedy created by an unknown artist who, in his final moments, mixed his own blood into the very paint that would become his lasting testament. After completing this macabre masterpiece, the tormented creator took his own life, leaving behind only questions and a canvas that seemed to pulse with something far more sinister than mere pigment. For 25 years, the painting remained locked away, hidden in the shadows of Sean Robinson's grandmother's home. She understood something that others might dismiss, that some things are meant to stay buried. When Robinson inherited the piece, his grandmother's warnings echoed in his mind, but curiosity proved stronger than caution. Against her dying wishes, he brought the Anguished Man into the light. What followed defied explanation. Visitors to Robinson's home began reporting the same unsettling experiences. The sound of distant screaming when no one else was present, shadow figures moving just beyond their peripheral vision, and an overwhelming sense of dread that seemed to emanate from the painting itself. The canvas appeared to watch, to listen, to respond to those who dared to look upon it. Robinson, determined to document what was happening, set up cameras. The footage he captured has left viewers divided between belief and skepticism. The videos appear to show the painting subtly shifting, its surface rippling as if alive, with wisps of smoke curling from areas where no heat source exists. But perhaps more disturbing than what the cameras captured was what began happening to Robinson's family: unexplained injuries appearing overnight, nightmares that felt too real to dismiss, and paranormal activity that seemed to center around the painting's presence. Today, the Anguished Man hangs in Robinson's home, a window into something that defies our understanding of art, death, and the spaces between worlds. One question remains: when an artist bleeds their final breath into their work, what part of themselves never truly dies? Deep within the Tower of London lies a stone that has watched empires crumble and kings die bloody deaths for over 7 centuries. But is it merely a witness to history, or something far more sinister? The Koh-i-Noor diamond, weighing a staggering 186 carats, carries with it a reputation darker than its brilliant facets suggest. Ancient Hindu texts tell of its theft from the sacred statue of a deity torn from the very eye of the divine. The moment it was stolen, according to legend, a curse was born, one that would follow the diamond through centuries of bloodshed and betrayal. What makes this curse particularly chilling is its apparent specificity. Throughout its documented history, every male ruler who claimed ownership of the Koh-i-Noor met a violent end. Emperors fell to assassins' blades, kings died in mysterious circumstances, and dynasties collapsed with startling regularity. Yet when the diamond passed into the hands of women, they seemed immune to its deadly influence, ruling with power and longevity. The diamond's path through history reads like a catalogue of human tragedy. It witnessed the fall of the Mughal Empire, changed hands during brutal conquests, and left a trail of mysterious deaths that spanned continents. Each transfer of ownership seemed to herald disaster for its new male possessor, as if the stone itself demanded payment in blood for the ancient sacrilege of its theft. Today, the Koh-i-Noor rests in the British Crown Jewels, set into the Queen Mother's crown. Even now, it continues to generate controversy, with India demanding its return and whispers of the curse persisting. The British royal family, notably, ensures that only queens and queen consorts wear the diamond, a tradition that some say acknowledges the curse, while others claim it's merely coincidence. As the diamond catches the light in its Tower of London display case, one must wonder, does the curse still pulse within its crystalline heart, waiting for the next man foolish enough to claim it as his own? Thank you for watching until the end of the video. If you found this video interesting, let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you won't miss any of our upcoming videos.